Another week in Marvel Snap means that there's another OTA. And this one's a bit of a sleeper in that things that should change are being changed, right? Decks that are really strong are being changed. But it feels like change for the sake of change and not like changes that are actually going to move the needle and do something that like adjust things that truly need adjusting. I also have a very short amount of time, so we're going to try and get this all done in one take, so bear with me. Starting first with Sparky. He's going from a 2-1 to a 2-2. So an increase in his power, but a decrease in his power. Instead of giving +3 power to a card that moves, he's giving +2. Basically, the exact same story that happened to Aranya. The activate move ability and giving power to a card is too strong with Human Torch, and so they're decreasing the amount of power. I think it's really easy to just say, like, reverse the order of this text. So move your card that last moved back to its previous location and give it +2 power. Or, they could stick with a +3. So that Human Torch doubles, he gets his, he moves, he gets his double, then he gets the +3 power. Because, this is, sure, whatever. You knocked off 2 power from Human Torch. This, Human Torches are still going to get huge. And now other more interesting synergies that Sparky is enabling with move are going to go away, right? Basically, their notes, what they said is that move needs to change, but they're not willing to change Human Torch. I don't know what this clock thing is here. I forgot to remove that from last week. Ignore that. What they said is, as we noted, when we energy swapped Vulture and Human Torch, the road to getting moved into an ideal balance spot was going to be a bumpy one. And while still likely to remain true that too much of move strength is allocated in Human Torch, we would like to continue moving towards a reality where move decks are less homogenous and can function as a go really big decks or be about mass moving to realize synergy with cards like Hydra Stomper, which I'm all for. So much of the conversation has been around that Human Torch was so balanced as a 1-cost because he could be Killmongered or Electrud. It was okay to deal with, where now it's like, well, can I target my Shadow King or Shang-Chi perfectly? I guess not, because they have priority because they're so tall anyway. So I got to guess. It's just, the threat of Killmonger kept Human Torch intact. And you can say, well, yeah, what about Bounce Move? Well, Bounce Move was so top of the echelon people were playing. I don't know. It's weird. Why not just have the gonads to say, you know what, we're just going to take it down that Human Torch doubles once per turn. We're so afraid of Frankie Ray Nova doubling twice that card can only double once a whole game. But Human Torch, you could get them doubled 4 times in a single turn if you want. Whatever. It's a change to an archetype that is very, very strong, and I'm glad they're not totally blind to it. And I hope that they're very serious about taking a look at Human Torch, because I would like move to be something else besides just Human Torch gets big. Moving on to the next card, which is another deck that needs to be adjusted. Storm is going from a 3-2 to a 3-1. She keeps her same text, everything. The short answer is that people are boring. They play the same thing over and over again, and that Storm War Machine Legion combo is annoying. But for some people, some reason people like to play it. And I want to throw shade on any player. People play what you want to play. But this people complain about the problem when there are clearly people who are the problem. And I'm not trying to, again, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. It's just we are the creators of our own meta. And we have chosen that Storm War Machine Legion is a meta that we want. And okay, fine, cool. What they said is that they're going to take, with these types of strategies, they want to weaken the portions of the deck that are least fun to play against. And, I think that is good. Help you contest that Storm location, maybe just a little bit more if you have to. 1 power can be significant in this. But again, people are still going to play the combo. Storm's power isn't while you're playing the deck. A 20 power Infinite, when you can't play any cards, is still going to be a bummer to play against. However, how this is going to be impactful is that when they aren't getting the Infinite, and it's that, they're playing, or they didn't get their War Machine, or they didn't get Legion or something, and they're trying to get power back in there with their Doctor Doom or something, then this nerf to Storm is actually going to do something about those decks. So, this one I actually think is sure, fine. This is good. MJ, or Red Snapper, is going to be happy about this one. Galacti is getting a buff. He's going from a 7-4 to a 7-5. With the same ability, game start, choose 6 other cards in your deck, and then on reveal, transform those cards into copies of this. I think that this is a little premature, if I'm being honest, but I think it's cool. Zombie Galacti is a cool card design. buff it. Sure, go for it. It is a card that is extremely sensitive to balance knobs, as each point of power can represent up to 7 additional power in the most extreme cases, which is true. You know, like it is a very difficult thing to balance. And it. So I just realized I'm doing this in one take, so you just saw me yawn. Sorry about that. But yeah, the thing is that, like, cool, this is, like, it's a card that's unique and it's difficult to play. So yeah, buff it, make it playable. I hope they're doing the same thing with Spider-Man Noir. My goodness. Or maybe they're just going to fix my personal RNG. I got a vendetta against them for that. But, like, this, I think, is a little bit premature because there's some data mine cards for next season that I think are going to enable Zombie Galacti extremely well. However, I forget the name of the card, but basically you activate it and then it gives the next card you play its power, right? So you activate that before you play Zombie Galacti, and now Zombie Galacti has even more power. Like, great. It feels a little bit premature, but if nothing else, like, cool. Get people to care about a card that they gave up on too quickly. I'm all for the OTA doing things like that. So then moving on to, like, this trend that they're having where they're taking older cards and underperforming and buffing them, we have Odin gaining 1 power to 9 power. Orca gaining 2 power, technically, not to his base stats of 611, but to his ongoing ability where he gets +7 instead of just +5. And then Wave is going to 6 power, which for Wave I think makes the most sense because now she's in line with Luna Snow. What they said about it is continue our mini theme of buffing expensive cards. Here are some more buffs to underplayed 6 cost and Wave to enable them ahead of Hydra Man's release. You know, whatever, that's fine. I don't think anybody's going to be playing these cards, but, you know, cool. Good stuff. I mean, Odin might be interesting with something you could do with Hydra Man, but maybe Orca, but, like, again, so Orca, what is that? Why can't I do math? He's now a 618, almost an Infinite. That's pretty big, but I just don't know if that's going to, like, make him playable. Let me go back and say, not playable. Make people interested to care to play him. Because in high voltage, he's lots of fun to play. But in regular game modes, are people going to do anything? Probably not. And then the last one, White Queen gaining a power to 5. Same text, she'll copy the highest cost card from your opponent's hand. They said, rounding out a quick set of changes, here's a buff to a fan favorite. They can handle the extra point of power. She might even nicely benefit from some of these other 6 cost changes. I think she's still useless. I think that she should give it a -1 cost, right? I think her text should be, copy the card that costs the most from your opponent's hand into your hand with -1 cost. I think that would be huge. So yeah, that's the OTA. I'm not, 8-minute video. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Like, I was talking in my Discord about this, that, like, forever ago, Havoc was nerfed when the Invisible Woman First Steps stuff was going crazy. And it just felt like an unwillingness to fix the problem, and so Havoc caught astray. I feel like the same thing is happening with Move. Like, we'll go all the way back to it. Like, these others are fine. Like, even the Storm one is like, okay, whatever. Like, sure, take a point off this deck that people are just playing way too much. But again, like, we are creators of our own meta. 1 point of power isn't going to change that. This one, though, just feels like, I'm not telling them that they're wrong. They have balance data that we do not. I would just love if they would have the boldness to tell us, hey, this is why we're not changing Human Torch. It's because we want to sell a season pass. Like I wish that they would give us some information about Human Torch, but here we are. So yeah, that's the OTA for today. Basically, keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the comments.